Ravens Nation, we got several stories surrounding your Baltimore Ravens that we're going to discuss in this video, including reuniting with a former defensive coordinator, updates on Davante Adams, and some injury reports coming out of practice today. But before we get into all of that, welcome to Vlog Talk, your home for all things Baltimore Ravens football. If you're a Ravens fan and you're new to this channel, take a second, like the video, subscribe. We're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the season, and if you can help me get there, I would genuinely appreciate it. But enough of that. Let's get into our first story, and that is the Ravens reunite with former defensive coordinator Dean Pease as a senior advisor. It's been no mystery or anything like that this defense has been, for lack of better words, disappointing through the first 5 games. I'm not ready to throw in the towel on them, though. I know it's going to take time for Zach Orr to really probably get his feet under him. Keep in mind, this is his first time calling plays as a coordinator. This is not something he's done. Like Mike McDonald, who also struggled early on with the Ravens, not necessarily 5 games in, but he also had experience calling plays at Michigan before he came back to the Ravens. So I want to give him, Zach Orr, a little bit of time to really get the swing of things. Obviously, things need to get better sooner than later, though, because this is going to be a problem if they don't get it fixed in a hurry. In particular, the secondary has been a major letdown, and I know that some people argue, well, they shut down Buffalo. Well, we see Buffalo has no real receivers to threaten the secondary, and they did play well, and they played well most of the game against Dallas. The fourth quarter, obviously a different story, but for the Ravens' first 5 games, the opposition has recorded the highest passing yards of the season so far. That is not necessarily, that is more of an indictment on the defense, is what I'm saying, than it is on the offenses that they're playing. That's a problem. Obviously, you can say, well, they played Joe Burrow last week. Oh, that's fine. Mike McDonald, though, was able to contain Joe Burrow for the most part. And like I said, I'm not throwing Zach Orr completely under the bus here and saying that he's not going to be a good coordinator. I think he will. I just think he needs time, and I think bringing in a guy like Dean Pease is going to get a second set of eyes on things, might help him, hopefully on game day. I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have, but hopefully maybe gives him a second perspective on things and helps him along. Here's what Zach Orr had to say in a conversation with Dean Pease. He says, "Hey, it would be good if you wanted to come up here and be an advisor, be another set of eyes, just be a help to us. Ultimately, all I care about is us performing the best we can to help us win." And I think that it's going to help to a degree. Like I said, I don't know to what extent, but I do have faith that Zach Orr is going to get the hang of it and bring this defense back to a very good level. I said before the season I thought they would be back to elite by week 4 or 5. Obviously, I was dead wrong on that, but I think all the pieces are there, and they'll get it figured out. Just hopefully it comes sooner than later. So we'll see, but that is what is going on there. Lamar Jackson was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week for the 11th time in his career thus far. Not a surprise, absolute dominating performance through the air and just in general. That stiff arm on Sam Hubbard has everybody talking, and rightfully so. Just a fantastic play and a fantastic game by a fantastic player. We are just so lucky to see a guy like Lamar Jackson come in and change the game the way he has. We've never seen anything like it, and I know Michael Vick is probably the closest thing, but I think Lamar is just such a stud, and I'm just so glad that he is a Raven. But that leads us into our third story, and that is 3 starters were not at practice today, and that is Marlon Humphrey out with an ankle, Ronnie Stanley with a toe, and Rashad Bateman with a groin. Obviously, all 3 of those guys have been very good thus far in the season. Rashad Bateman had some big-time catches in the game against Cincinnati. Ronnie Stanley looks more like Ronnie Stanley of old than we've seen in recent years, which has been so great to see, to have that left side so much better than it's been the last couple of years. So I'm so glad about that. Hopefully, nothing I've seen indicates that this would be anything more than just a temporary out of practice. So hopefully that remains the case. And Marlon Humphrey hasn't necessarily been his best this year, but that play against Cincinnati where he jumped the slant and made that game-saving interception, because let's be honest here, even though the secondary absolutely, call it for what it is, stunk it up for most of that game, it felt like. And that's taking nothing away from the Bengals offense, but the defense looked lost. Had Marlon Humphrey not done that, they were already either in field goal range or right at the edge of field goal range. And that absolutely seemed like it broke the momentum of the Bengals offense because they were not the same after that play. So Marlon Humphrey is still a very valuable piece of the secondary. Hopefully he is ready to go Sunday. And then some updates on the Davante Adams news, and this is going to shock everybody, I'm sure, but it was reported by Tashawn Reed that the Ravens are, drumroll please, out on Davante Adams. So shocking to probably nobody. It was obviously covered because a big name, and he's linked to all these teams, and it would be cool, but I don't think the Ravens need him. I said that before. I would not want to see them give up too much for Davante Adams and stress the cap to the max, considering they might have more pressing needs come the trade deadlines, that they need something more important. I think we saw Sunday the Ravens are capable of getting the job done with the receivers they have in-house. Are they superstar names? No. But with a combination of the receivers and the tight ends, I think they have more than enough firepower through the air. It's just the problem with the Ravens receivers at times is that they're very hit and miss. Games like Sunday, when everybody's on, they looked unstoppable. But then there's other games where not so much, and it seems like they have butterfingers. So hopefully Sunday was just a sign of things to come, and they can be more consistent at times. Like I said, it's not always, but we've all seen it, especially from guys like Bateman that have not always been the most consistent. But hopefully he's starting to turn the page and evolve and emerge as a more top target on this offense. But that's all I got for you guys today. Make sure you leave a big thumbs up. Leave a comment on today's video. What story, whatever story you want to talk about, leave a comment. And I love talking Ravens football with you guys and seeing you guys just chat it up down there. So make sure you leave a comment, like the video, subscribe. On the road to 2,000 subscribers, and I need everyone watching this to subscribe to help me get there. I appreciate you all tuning in, and I will see you all in the next video. Go Ravens!